Well, today marks International Childhood Cancer Day, and leukemia is the most common kind among young people, especially in South Africa. However, issues of misdiagnosis or late detection remains a problem in fighting the prevalence of cancer. To get some insight on how best to deal or avoid it, I'm now joined in studio by Yolandi Pelser, a mom who is at the forefront in the battle against cancer, as well as Shelby Zimmerman, a donor recruitment specialist in Gauteng for the Sunflower Fund. A very good morning to you, ladies, and welcome to ANN7. Firstly, if I can start with you, Shelby, what is International Childhood Cancer Day?
So, International Childhood Cancer Day is basically to raise awareness about childhood cancer, and also to offer support to those parents that have children that have different kinds of cancer, leukemia and other kinds of cancer. Leukemia is one of the most prevalent ones, which basically is 1 in 3 of the cancers that children get is leukemia. So it's high on the list of priorities.
And now, with regards to leukemia, what does the Sunflower Fund do?
So what the Sunflower Fund does is that we raise awareness about leukemia, and we basically recruit donors to go onto the South African Bone Marrow Registry, which basically means that if there is a child out there that is looking for a bone marrow transplant, the Sunflower Fund we endeavour to make sure that there are enough people on the registry in order for those children to be able to get a life-saving transplant.
Now let's talk a bit about that registry. Why is it so important for people from different ethnic groups to be part of this?
So it's incredibly important because the tests that are done and the matches that we're wanting to find are based on your ethnicity, which means that it's your DNA. So it's not your blood type, which many people think it is, but it is actually your DNA that they are looking for. So you're looking for a twin from another mother, basically. And that is why it's so important to have people from every ethnic background within South Africa on the registry. At the moment, we do not have enough people of colour on the registry. And obviously, that causes a huge problem when we are looking for donors for children, African children, Indian children, coloured children. So we really, really need to push that point across that we need people from every ethnic background.
Now take us through some of the myths and stigmas with regards to bone marrow stem cells. Is the process painful? What is the process like?
Okay. So basically, when you join the registry, they will take 2 test tubes of blood, which is your normal test tubes. It's about 5 mils each. And they will then strip the DNA out of those two test tubes of blood. And that is what goes onto the registry. It's the DNA strand that goes onto the registry. If you are a match, if you get called to say that you are a match to somebody that is looking for a transplant, the process is fairly simple. You'll have a line in either arm. The blood will go out from the one, goes through an apheresis machine, which is a cell separating machine, and it separates your stem cells, which you find in your blood, into a little bag, and the blood returns to your body. So the only thing that you lose is basically a little bag of about 170 mils of stem cells. Those stem cells, that 170 mils of stem cells, is what we do the transplant with. So it could take between 4 and 7 hours. You might feel a little bit fluish beforehand because you do have a couple of human growth hormone injections just to stimulate the stem cells. But thereafter, really not that much. Some people do have slight joint pain, but very mild. You're kept very, very comfortable. You go into a private clinic. You're treated like the king or queen that you actually are for saving that little life. And basically, that's how it works. Sometimes it does take a little bit longer, and they will require you to stay overnight, and they will follow through the following day. But generally, it's between 4 and 7 hours.
Wow, so if someone, wants to become a donor, how do they go about this?
So if you'd like to become a donor, you would phone our toll-free number, which is 0800 12 1082. And you would speak to the ladies at the call centre. They would require you to just read through the information brochure, which basically lays out, what the requirements are. There are certain things like being between the ages of 18 and 45. There are a couple of medical issues that they will not allow you to join if you have certain issues like screws and pins and stuff through your bones and that kind of thing. But once you've done all of that and you speak to the ladies on that toll-free number, they will do the registration over the phone with you. And once that is done, they will then send you your form, and you can then go and do the 2 test tubes of blood at Sandvis.
Well, Shelby, I must tell you that I've actually learned quite a bit in this interview. I myself was also one of those people who just thought that this is a long process and it requires some sort of operation where they, extract something. If someone does want to get more information about how they can get involved, how they can get involved with you, some of the patients, where can they find information?
Okay. So if they phone that toll-free number, which is the 0800 12 10 82, or if they want to go onto our website, which is www.sunflowerfund.org.za, and all the information is on there. There's all the different numbers are on there, and if they need to speak to anybody, they can obviously phone that toll-free number, and they will get all the information that's needed.
Okay, thank you very much. I just want to talk to you now, Yolandi. Of course, you are the parent of a child who has had leukemia. Tell us about your journey in overcoming it.
Okay, well, he was diagnosed on the 11th of March, 2014 with Burkitt's leukemia. It's like a very, very, very scarce type of leukemia. Only 2 to 3% of all the kids who has ALL has the Burkitt's leukemia.
Okay.
He's been through 8 blocks of high-risk chemo. And we finished up it was October last year. And for now, he's on a 2-year maintenance chemotherapy.
Okay. So what is the status of?
Well, he's in remission now, and he'll be in remission for the rest of his life. He'll never be cancer-free.
Were you able to contract it early, or
Yes,
did you find out late? Because it seems quite a short period. I mean, if you found out about it last year already, he's in remission. That's amazing.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. Well, the biggest thing with cancer is you have to catch it early. And so I'm pleased to ask people to learn the early childhood cancer signs, because you can actually save a child's life by just knowing the childhood cancer signs.
Was there something that, showed any signal or sign that he had cancer?
Yeah, no, he
How did you find out?
Yeah, he had like a pain in his leg, and at a point where he couldn't walk anymore, so they did some biopsies and things, and with a bone marrow biopsy, they saw that he had cancer.
Now, what message would you like to share for mothers out there whose children are also in remission, or who have possibly just found out that their kids have been diagnosed with cancer?
Just hang in there, and that's it, because, and share with everybody. We've created a Facebook page, so and there's already like 2,500 people following the Facebook page, and we documented this whole journey on the Facebook page.
Now, you've worked quite closely with the Sunflower Fund. Tell us about your relationship. Tell us about your journey and some of the things that you've gotten involved in together.
So some of the things, well first of all, we actually met Yolandi at a blood drive, which we did for Jordan, and that's how we met. And I think just from there, it's kind of escalated, and obviously just from a support point of view, we do have quite a lot to do with Unitas, the oncology unit at Unitas as well. And there's a couple of things that we've done because of Jordan, because he loves cars. So we've done a super cars for super kids, which there's a whole lot of guys that have amazing cars, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and we get the kids from some of the oncology units, including Chuck and a couple of the others, and they all get to choose what kind of car they'd like to go in, and all of them drive up together up, is it William Nicol?
Yeah.
Yeah, William Nicol, and they have a spin in the car, and they come back, and we all sit at Tasha's at Nicol Way, and they all have an absolute blast.
So that's amazing to see how something like this has grown. Have you found that Jordan has inspired other kids to want to persevere, to overcome?
More the adults, more the parents than the kids, because most of the kids are between the ages of 3 and 6.
So now that Jordan has overcome this, what are his plans for the future?
Oh my goodness, I think he's just too small. He's only 4 years old now. So
yeah.
His biggest dream now is just to work with a kettle in the kitchen. Yeah.
All right. I also just want to ask you, what are some of the other activities that Sunflower Fund does throughout the year, not only today?
So there's quite a couple. There's one that's coming up which is very, very exciting, which is the Everest Challenge.
Okay.
That's held at the Westcliff Stairs. That's on the 21st and the 22nd of March. Ray Funnels, also a survivor, he received a stem cell transplant from his brother, And he actually organized this whole thing a couple of years ago. So this is our second one. And we've gone basically from 8 athletes to about 70, because we've included relay teams. So we've got a couple of the big corporates that have joined as well, one of them being Stanlib. They've got 2 relay teams. And yeah, so it basically starts at 6 on the Saturday morning, goes all the way through the night, and it ends on Sunday afternoon. Okay. So 100,000 steps is basically Everest.
Oh, okay.
And it's actually amazing because the chances of finding a match for a donor match is 1 in 100,000. So the 100,000 steps, the 1 in 100,000, it's actually a really amazing thing to do. So we're really looking forward to that.
But you mentioned now, having some collaboration with, some of the corporates. Have you gotten support? Do you think you need more support in raising awareness?
We definitely do need more support, but those corporates that do support us are amazing. Not only from a funding point of view, but also from the point of view where they allow us to come into the corporates to do awareness support, but those corporates that do support us are amazing. Not only from a funding point of view, but also from the point of view where they allow us to come into the corporates to do awareness talks to the staff, so that they're aware of it, so that when SANBIS do go in to do their blood drives, they invite us to go with, so that we can actually recruit bone marrow donors from that blood drive. So I think that obviously it's always great to get more and more support. But it's an ongoing process. It's a moving target, it's an ongoing process. Some fall away, some are new. So yeah, we're very excited to have those corporates on board.
And yourself, Yolandi, just going back to the journey that you've had with Jordan, who has overcome this, what are some of the other challenges that you faced?
Well, one of the biggest challenges that we are facing is that the cancer has 50% chance of returning. He's got a little brother, so we did do a match to see if they're a match, and they aren't. So if the cancer returns, he will be needing a bone marrow transplant. And of course, that's when we're going to need the support of the rest of South Africa just to register on the registry, so that
and now funding, was funding a challenge? Were you able to get support easily? What was the process like?
Yeah, well, the thing is, we came from the Northwest Province, and so I lost my job and everything because we had to be in hospital. For the first block of chemo, we were in hospital for 9 weeks and 5 days on end. So, so we started like a trust fund, and people just supported us by putting money into the trust fund.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I wish you all the success with your journey, and thank you also for
Thank
coming
you
in
very
and
much.
sharing a bit more about the process. And it's not as daunting as people think
No,
that
it's
it is.
not.
So
I always say we're not carpenters. We don't draw.
thank you so much for joining us. If there is anybody out there who would like to, of course, check if there will be a match, make sure that you go onto the Sunflower website or call their toll-free number and